As we are approaching the town of Borodyanka, which was occupied for about 5 weeks in the early days of the full-scale Russian invasion of Ukraine in February 2022, we passed the Serhii river over a new bridge as the old one was destroyed. This neighborhood with apartment buildings is our first stop in the town of Borodyanka. Here, the Russians destroyed the biggest part of town when they came marching in, leaving a trail of death and destruction.
The building, it was damaged, but not destroyed. But you can see new one.
Yeah.
It is under debris of this building. Eight people died. 8 people in basement. They died not due to injury. They died of starvation. So they wanted water and they asked for help, but Russians don't let to help them. There were a lot of buildings there. All buildings were destroyed by Russians.
Like the same type of this flat or...
No, yes, very similar.
Okay, to clarify, we are in the western part of Borodyanka. If you Google this name, you will most likely find a lot from a place just about a kilometer to the east from here, but we'll go there later. The red dot is our walking route from the main road to where we are now in the video, in between the buildings. This neighborhood, as seen from 2019 satellite imagery, was home to a number of high-rise buildings. From my video and images I found online, I can confirm that these buildings were all destroyed or at least severely damaged by the Russian invaders. This includes a kindergarten.
This kindergarten was destroyed. It was flats.
Yeah.
Flatted.
Oh wow.
And American money.
Project Hope.
American money.
Yeah.
Just for future generations.
I hope so, because sometimes they get stolen, right?
Civilization is on. It works. Don't cross this.
Yeah.
No, it is nothing, but it will be sound.
Oh.
It will sound.
So much lives destroyed, just like that, right? They don't care.
Absolutely, they destroy everything.
Yeah.
Civilian, military, fields, kindergarten, food storage. So, on the first day of invasion, first days, they targeted food storage and critical infrastructure. It was very cold at that time, so they targeted steam houses.
Oh, the central heating, right?
Yes, yeah.
Right behind me is a site that Russia destroyed completely in the early days of the war. Nothing remains of it. It's been demolished entirely now, and around me you can see new construction going on. This is apartments that are being renovated. There's a new kindergarten where army of Russia destroyed the old one and killed children there. They were still partly funded by US AID. So now you understand why Trump doesn't want that to survive.
For walnuts.
Oh, yeah.
In a couple weeks they will be ready.
Nice.
To harvest. Добрый день.
Like
this one, it is edible.
It's like a fig or something?
No. It is like plums.
Oh yeah.
You can just taste. Just it's very sour.
Should I take the red
very
one?
Sour.
Or the...
Just try. We have a lot of apricots here. They are also free everywhere. And some apples.
And all different seasons, so you can eat like all summer. You have fresh fruit, right?
You will never hungry here.
Oh, that's really nice. Really sour with the
cultural center.
Like to meet up with the neighbors? Or?
Yes. It is a conference hall
Yeah.
and event center. and classes of piano classes,
Yeah.
chess classes, and some cinema and so on. It was partly destroyed during occupation, during invasion, and this building wonderfully survived. But very similar building on left, 2 buildings, and on right 2 buildings were destroyed.
The town of Borodyanka, as well as other areas northwest of Kyiv, were occupied for just over 5 weeks in the early days of the full-scale invasion by the barbaric Russian hordes. Obviously, to avoid local residents and children from joining NATO, Russia bombarded them when they came marching in, damaging and destroying around 70% of all buildings in town. As it has been over 3 years, this part of Ukraine has moved on by cleaning up the destruction the Russians left when they were done occupying the area. Many severely damaged buildings were torn down, while others are repaired or being repaired now. The pain inflicted by Russia won't heal this easily though.
It's a monument to our Ukrainian public figure, it's national hero Taras Shevchenko. He was poet, he was painter, he was writer.
Projectiles that shot out of what came down there. And this statue of Shevchenko is severely damaged. It's still standing. All around us here, crews are working really hard to rebuild what the Russians destroyed over 3 years ago. A few buildings like this one were repaired. Others had to be completely destroyed and taken down because it was no longer viable to reconstruct. Seeing this is a clear sign that Ukraine isn't going anywhere, nor does its people. They're here to stay. Russia isn't. Back to those murals you probably noticed in the background earlier.
This is only Banksy.
Yeah, this one, yeah. These murals were made only after the liberation of Borodianka. They were preserved when the remains of the buildings were eventually cleared up. Weird to see all the developments going on here, but all this development and new building, of course, will be abused by the propagandists telling you that all the money is wasted. It's not, it's survival. Of the blocks of flats in this footage, only one remains today. This row of 5 flats stood on the southern side of the square where we are right now. Russia invaded, destroyed, killed and then fled again, leaving once occupied places like this, utterly destroyed.
Добрый день, можно заглянуть, да?
Да.
Ну, сюда.
А, сюда? Конкретно? Заходите.
They are volunteers.
Yeah.
Sometimes there are a lot of women, sometimes just one.
Was it always open, or was it destroyed as well, or was it just an open area earlier on?
They bombed all buildings along the road.
Yeah.
Was not destroyed, but it had a lot of cracks inside, and you can see.
Yeah, everything is like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is quite fresh. It was built by the end of existing of Soviet Union, so in the 80s of last century,
Yeah.
just 40, 50 years ago. If you remember, it is circle traffic around this one. In any way, we'll pass it again. This building we can see just a heap of bricks.
Yeah, they tore it down because it.
And just 2 or 3 months ago, we could explore this place on foot.
Yeah. Huge cracks in the wall.
It's museum.
Oh, yes. Ukraine couches.
Товарищ з Голландії, Нідерландів. It's people's initiative.
Yeah.
Residents of the city brought what they could find on the streets. And these things were from flats temperature was
Really
very
hot,
very,
right?
very hot. So glass melted.
Yeah.
Oh, RPG. Oh, RPG. It is Russian. It is Russian. It is Russian. Российская. It's Russian. RPG.
But why is it English? Wait.
So I don't know why.
I don't know why.
But I don't know why it is in English.
Really?
I have no idea. But RPG. RPG. It is handheld anti-tank grenade thrower.
Yeah. Maybe they normally also sell it to other countries.
Maybe it is for export. And this is building a palace of culture.
Yeah.
You asked me whether it was destroyed. It was destroyed, but not completely. But this photo was taken from this building.
Yeah.
And this one survived. I told.
Yeah.
And this was destroyed from this side to that side. Local community, just coat of arm, and they used as a target.
Yeah,
so you can see bullets.
And they shot the white bird, the bird of peace, fitting for Russia.
So this sign, this evacuation vehicle, дети, it means children.
Yeah.
So kids.
I know the writing from Mariupol theater, right, on the ground.
It was a target for them. All streets were sealed. The flashes like this. Needles. Phosphorus.
And this also used to make fragments, right? They will break and then scatter around.
It is shrapnel.
Yeah, shrapnel.
This is Grad.
Yep.
Grad multi-launch system Grad.
Yeah.
This corner is Russian equipment, Russian ration, and Russian military certificates, Russian money.
Why do they bring money, right? It's useless. They steal everything.
The most massive bombardment occurred on the 1st and 2nd March.
Really early, like a few days in, right?
Yeah. So they afraid of partisans, and they destroyed all buildings along the road.
Although things have changed dramatically since, Borodianka and neighboring towns were among the hardest hit in the initial phase of the Russian invasion when its troops entered Ukraine from Belarus. Most of the town was destroyed and many residents fled. Many weren't able to escape, partially because of what you see in this museum.
Upon their invasion, they collected all telephones from locals to cut information.
Yeah, also
to
avoid information spreading, right? Yeah.
And by the way, this is part of air bomb FAB 500. 500 kilos of TNT or TNT-like explosive.
Yep.
This is parachute from one of the pilots. So this jet is for 2 pilots.
Yeah.
One of them was killed during downing, and second one died later. This photo was taken in Centralная Street, Central Street. This is police station. It was demolished. It was demolished by the Ukrainian construction or deconstruction company.
Yeah.
And now it is a new building instead of this one.
You can also visit this museum. It's on the 2nd floor of the Palace of Culture named after Taras Shevchenko in Borodyanka. Ask someone on site to open up if the door is locked.